friend of mine loaned me this book, and we're just going to take a look at it. Usually I talk about fountain pens, and this is fountain pen related, but related. It's a book by Glen Benton Bowen, um, and it's Collectible Fountain Pens, specifically Parker, Schaefer, Wall, Eversharp, Waterman, and it says many more, but it's mostly those four. Um, and it covers quite a broad range of history, early history particularly. It's a nice book, paper cover, published by L.W. Books, Gas City, in Indiana. So if you look here, you can see the ISBN number. So if you ever want to order it. I think it was published, first edition, 89.90. So, but you open it up and it gives you an introduction, value of anything, and pens. Just some basic information, history of the Parker Company, and then it gets into some interesting reproductions of patterns and design diagrams, things like that. Parker's is the first pen that they look at. There's a lot of old advertisements that they reproduce that are quite cool. I like these a lot. It's fun to read these. They're quite nice. It shows you the different pens from that period. Yeah, so the first, mostly a lot of it is just like reproductions of advertisements from magazines and newspapers. And they used to you don't see advertisements for pens anymore, really. But at that time, it was a big business. It was a huge business. It was a fountain pen, you could almost say, was like the iPhone of today. Before the fountain pen, you had an inkwell and a dip pen, or so if you were wanting to write something down while on a train or moving around, you'd use a pencil, or kids in school would use ink, of course, but they would also use a chalk and slate to write their letters and numbers and things like that as they practiced. But the fountain pen, when it came out, was essentially this new and very sought after piece of technology, the iPhone of its day, really, because you could walk around with a pen in your pocket, and you didn't have to get into dipping inks, and which was kind of messy. Fountain pens can be messy, but it was such a convenience to have these things. And of course, as they started competing with each other, they all tried to come up with new gimmicks or new models, and Parker 51 came out, and that changed design, and everybody started emulating the Parker 51 in design, and so on. And then, as time went on, there were so many companies making fountain pens, and some of them still exist. So, the big names like Parker, of course, and Waterman, and Schaefer, and there's still some major brands existing, but a lot of these companies did disappear over time, especially when rollerballs and ballpoint pens came in and saturated the market with cheap pens. And they were convenient and they're inexpensive, and slowly the demand for fountain pens died away. Strangely, it's one of those things. The price is something. It's a ballpoint pen is inexpensive, or a rollerball is inexpensive. Cheap disposable pens, but they're disposable. You spend a few cents or whatever it was at the time for this cheap pen. You use it, and then you throw it away. Whereas a fountain pen, yes, of course, they were more expensive, but they lasted for many, many years. That's the beautiful thing about fountain pens. You could almost say they were environmentally friendly in comparison to so many things that we that came afterwards, right? Think of all the ballpoint pens and that have gone into the waste, or have been, hopefully they get recycled, but I don't think so. But a fountain pen, you could still, like, I have fountain pens that are from the 1920s and 1930s. Like, a well-made fountain pen is something that can be passed down. It can be passed on to generations ahead, and you're looking at history when you're using a fountain pen. So it's kind of neat to see these old ads, and they were talking about that at the time too. This pen will last forever, more durable. Certain filling systems, new filling systems. They were always, they were talking about value when you buy a pen. So they're always competing. It's kind of interesting to see what advertising trends that they used. Yeah, so it's a really cool book. I enjoyed it. I know this is kind of a lame review, but I'm just chatting mostly off the top of my head, just giving you a little look. And as time went on, they started making pens where you could swap out nibs, and they had all sorts of different nibs, and you would think, well, what isn't one nib the same as another nib? But they had different thicknesses and different uses, and so on. And they were always trying to sell you something, like like a new add-on to your fountain pen. Some of these companies still exist, of course. Waterman has changed quite a bit over the years, but they were at one point one of the leading manufacturers of fountain pens, and today they don't. Today they're more of a high-end. Well, there are a lot of inexpensive Watermans, but they aren't the leader that they once were. They've been, but they still make nice pens. What else can I say? It's interesting to see all the designs and how design changed over the years, and how in some cases some of these designs continue on. Anyway, I love fountain pens. They're a lot of fun. Anyway, I'm just sort of looking through the book here with you, but yeah. So at the back, there's some nice color illustrations and showing you what exists and what went on, and yeah. Nowadays, all this information is, of course, easily to access online, but I still love a book. I'm sort of, I do look online for an awful lot of my information, but it's really lovely to be able to pick up a book and look through it. And another book I got, actually, this is a friend's book. He just loaned it to me, and I was looking through it. But he gave me this magazine, Pelican. It's just a sales brochure, really, talking about the history of Pelican, showing you different different makes of Pelican, different decades, different materials. It's just kind of an interesting little collector's item, really, this book itself. And I keep looking at it and going, one of these days it's my grail pen to get a Pelican 400 or 600 or something along that line. It's kind of fun to look at. I have a vintage Pelican that I quite like, and I should probably try to keep my eye out for a few more. But yeah, grail pen would be let's say that one of my grail pens would be the Pelican 600. Don't know what nib. That'll be interesting. So anyway, I hope you don't mind this little video. It was kind of fun just to flip through these. I like doing videos like this, just showing you books and things like that. Even though, anyway, I hope you're having a great day. Lovely day here. Very quiet in the house today. Everybody's outside, and I probably should be too. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon. I hope you have a great day. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye.